Okay, this is going to be a third attempt at this video. The purpose of this video is to show the 2005 Subaru Forester and its state of completion. I've emptied out some of the random mick-muck that's down in there, so I can kind of highlight what's been done and the mentality behind it. So I'm going to try and be a lot more succinct. My first video was 20 minutes. I didn't even get to the back yet. So, what I'm going to draw attention to here is I've added a 200 amp high output alternator from Amazon, 200 bucks. Of course, I've got the, what's this company? NGK. It's a good company for spark plugs for this make of Subaru. I've got all of my grounding cables and power wires doubly insulated with zero gauge oxygen-free copper cable. I've got two of these style shunts, well, one of this style and a different shunt from Victron. But what a shunt is basically a big fuse. What you do is you run a couple of wires from this to a little reader that interfaces with an app, and it tells you your battery's usage and all the batteries, like 11 or 12 battery stats, not just fucking full or dead like a lot of cars, you know, give you. So, and this is a really good hybrid deep cycle battery by Odyssey. Lots of specs in that bad boy. We'll go into more of the numbers later. That's what was wrong with the first video. I did remove the windshield washer fluid from here, and it's a little inconvenient, but you know what I like more? I like being able to look at these wires, keep them all unobstructed, you know, keep the shortest lengths possible with a really solid 5-point star grounding here. Well, I guess it's not a 5-point, it's just a star ground, but all the major grounds in the engine come to here first, then travel to the shunt. That's how it's supposed to be. This is a fuse that goes to the wire that goes into the cabin and underneath the seat, which then becomes a 40 amp DC to DC charger by Renogy. There's my, I probably should just keep it straight so you don't have to keep flipping your phone. That is my ground and distribution block. It's pretty good quality. I want to replace it with, like, I want every point in this electrical system to be the highest quality with the least amount of resistance and the most amount of current pass through with the least amount of losses. So that was a cheap one from Amazon, but you know what? It's great. I got an extra A&L fuse right there. This is the battery that I've actually firmly installed pretty well. I'm very pleased with it, actually. It's hard mounted, held snug, except for I'm not really pleased with this. So any mechanics ought beware of all of those screws that can gut. So, oh, this video is going to be crazy. Don't move your phone. Just look at the pokey things. So, you know, it's not the best, but it's still looking pretty clean in here, right? So, you go into the car. I've got all the carpeting removed. You know, it was stained and kind of going out. And so what I got instead is I've got this. It's like a form of Dynamat, two forms, and I've Dynamated out everything. Dynamated, taken off the molding so that I don't have all the rattling and can thermally insulate it. There's the back of the car. Lots of attention paid to that, retaining heat and limiting vibration, removing all the trim. Lots of thermal insulation back there. Then I got some temporary ones for the windows here. I've taken the car's computer brain is up there, and so I've shielded that with some wood, you know, to prevent me from spilling anything on it, and it kind of guides the place for where the memory foam's going to go to create the softness here, because this is where I like to sleep. But I also want this area to be able to convert, so if I want to sit here and have like a table go from here to here, I can. So all this stuff's like ready. It's pretty much, if I needed to use this car tomorrow in the capacity that I've been designing it, I could. I would have to do an afternoon of, you know, polishing. Like this, all the wires are run, but this, the first dry run I did, that's what you call an epicenter. This goes here. Audio control epicenter. Audio control. They're going to be a theme in this vehicle that I'm very proud of. But anyways, in my first round, I forgot I should take this off because there's a little setting over here that allows you to adjust the grounding switch. It's like a little jumper that I can move around. And maybe I have it on the wrong setting, because the first run, even with the car's power off, and the fact that this thing's receiving its power from this rear battery that I just showed you, beneath the seat there, told me I did something wrong, and that just stressed me out because I just spent like 2 weeks installing it. Then I realized much later, oh, maybe that problem is because of this. Not as discreet as I like it. I had to do some modifications to the glove compartment. But now I've got to build a platform for this, because I don't want to keep... This stuff is basically... Dynamat is basically a level of foil with a level of butyl rubber. The butyl rubber and the foil work in tandem to limit vibration, insulate the vehicle. This foil returns the heat back into the cab and rejects heat from the outside. Works the same way as cool. Keeps the coolant in, keeps the heat out, depending on what time of season it is. But it's not meant to be stepped on in high traffic areas. So as you can see, that silver shining through, this stuff should be completely black, like where you see that. Or like if you look at, well, I don't have anything else except black. Okay, whatever, there's some in the back. And then I've sprayed the metal with like an undercoat. I just basically want to make the pieces of wood that go there for the bed pallet, but I want these pieces of wood to be able to be folded so that this becomes like a little table. And I can sit back here. Like, all of that is for the livability. I don't need this to be livable. I have a home now. So just having it be functional in the capacity of what I'm calling a digital busker, where I can take this out, park the car in a spot that I've maybe paid for where it's legal, and I don't even have to get out of the vehicle. I just pop out of the top, drop the JBL speakers on these. These were purchased from RePC. They're meant to be a desktop monitor mount. But with the metal piping that I can now screw to the bottom of my JBLs, when I drop them on, there's zero rattle. It's nice and firm. Still a couple of operational kinks to work out, but I just want to get this thing on what I'm going to call my stress test. As you can see the windows from the outside, you can see the air bubbles, which is why I'm going to try and move to, I just want to get like a silver decal. Either silver or black. And just use vinyl decals to make it look like it's just blacked out. Same thing with the back window. Back window's obviously the same, but that kind of looks tacky, but it's effective. It's just not pretty right now. But the inside's kind of pretty. You can see all that. Lots of black and silver Dynamat, all secured with a ducting tape. So most, as you can see, I've done all of the floorboards here. All right. Still got this thing I can add with some of the trim, and so I can put this back in. I'm on the fence, because that's space that can be used for other types of storage. This is the factory subwoofer that I went out and bought from a junkyard. It's supposed to have a 6x9 speaker. Right now it's just filled with my backup foils and stuff that I can still use and recycle for another part of the car. I had the amps originally mounted. Right now I've got very little stays in the car. There is some valuable stuff in here, but it's stuff that I bought cheap and can replace cheap. This little amp rack is great because you only see it if this seat is down. Right? And that's a pair of audio control amps, an ACM 4-300 and an audio control LC 1-800, putting out exactly the amount of RMS power. Well, it's so close, it may as well be spot on. RMS power to handle this dual voice coil, 11-inch JBL spare tire subwoofer. Spare tire is flat as fuck. I actually don't want the spare tire in here. I want to remove the spare tire because that's a whole lot of space I can use in the car, and then get a rear mounted, basically it's a hitch adapter. It's like a towing hitch, but then it comes up the back and I can have the spare tire in the back of my car. So that's ideal. That's what I'd like anyway. But for now, that's fine. It's designed to be there and it sounds exceptional. So as little as possible in the car, but I need to produce more bass than, even though these two are loud as fuck, the two external speakers, the JBL Party Box 110s are incredible. They're the smallest of the line, but their volume and their battery power is remarkable. But as you can see, it's pretty goddamn discreet. I've got some disconnects in this car, so when I stop this car and I'm, in motion on the road, anytime I leave the car, I can disable the car 2 ways with hidden switches. Hidden little tricks that I have to disable things that the car needs to run, not just the battery, but there's a couple of relays that are super important, and a couple of, you know, we'll just leave it at that. They're going to have to know, to move the car, they're going to have to know the 2 ways that I've disconnected all the things that it has. But not just that, when I leave the car, I have a security. By leaving an additional cell phone in here with a SIM card, you can use this app called Albert Camera, or Alfred Camera is one of them. There's lots of apps that do this, but what it does is, as long as it's connected to Wi-Fi or has a data plan, it's an active camera. So you can set it up in there, just a cell phone, and anytime you leave your car, if that camera senses a light change, if the camera senses movement or noise, so it's like a motion detector, noise detector, light detector. Any of those things happen beyond a threshold that you set, the camera turns on and starts recording. Once it turns on and starts recording, the phone, like I'm holding this phone, will send me a signal. It'll go beep, 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 and I'll open the screen to what's inside my car. So all of a sudden, I'm in the shopping center, and I've got a phone, say, mounted right here. It's got an alarm set off. It's letting me know that something's going on. But because it's battery powered and it has data, it's my security system. So anytime I leave the car, I can easily know anytime someone's fucking with my car right away, and they can't drive my car away without getting deep and dirty with some tools. So if they're gonna steal shit, they better be ready to steal shit. And most of the shit that's in the car that's worth stealing, I take out of the car. I don't have to leave it in the car. So that's kind of the build, is while it's in motion, everything has a discrete location. Someone peeking in a window isn't gonna notice anything. It's thermally insulated, so I can go long trips on the road while making these videos. I can end up in a location like Idaho or Colorado, 2 places I'm intending on going, and I can just sit back and relax if I want to stay there for a couple of weeks. As long as I have income, I can find food. As long as I have gas and insurance. So, you know, the key is to have some form of income to cover gas and incidentals and insurance and phone bills and data plans. That's it. And that ends up not being very much money at all. And I'm an excellent driver because I obviously have a lot invested, and I do not want this car in any way to be damaged. So yeah, I've gotten rid of the check engine light. I think I've done 4 startups, and I think the check engine light I've had for 2 years is now finally gone. The car's looking good. It's not in its final state, but it could do an immediate live demo if I needed it to. Well, not immediate. Like, as I said earlier, it would take a little bit of time. But I'm much happier. This video is much shorter. Shows things, a lot less blathering by me, but maybe I'll make another video where I get into a little bit more detail about how I designed the build. So yeah, boom.